The concierge's voice echoed through the marble lobby loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm telling you for the last time, the service entrance is around back, or I'm calling security." Her words dripped with disgust and barely concealed anger. Jasmine, the young black woman standing calmly at the mahogany reception desk, looked up at her with unwavering eyes. "I've already explained that I'm a guest here," she said simply, her tone steady but carrying an unmistakable strength. She was being humiliated in front of the entire five-star lobby, but no one expected what would happen next when the woman they thought was a lost delivery person stood up and revealed she owned every single hotel in the building. As we dive into this story, if you believe respect should never depend on assumptions, smash that subscribe button and tell us what country you're watching from. The Grandview Palace Hotel rose like a crystal tower against the city skyline, its 50 floors of luxury accommodating only the world's most elite travelers. The lobby sparkled with Italian marble, Austrian crystal chandeliers, and fresh orchids flown in daily from Thailand. This wasn't just a hotel, it was a statement, where rooms started at $800 per night and the penthouse suite cost more than most people's annual salary. Jasmine Chun stepped through the revolving brass doors of the Grandview Palace, her casual Friday attire, jeans, sneakers, and a simple hoodie, a stark contrast to the formal atmosphere around her. At 28, she moved with quiet confidence, though her relaxed clothing and worn backpack drew immediate stares from the formally dressed staff and guests. Behind the reception desk, Victoria Sterling surveyed her domain with practiced superiority. At 45, Victoria had built her career on maintaining the hotel's exclusive standards, though her interpretation often had more to do with appearances than actual guest status. Her smile was razor-sharp, welcoming for some, ice-cold for others. "Excuse me," Jasmine said, approaching the reception desk. "I'd like to check into the penthouse suite. Reservation under Chun." Victoria's eyes swept over Jasmine from head to toe, her expression shifting from professional to openly skeptical. "I'm sorry, there must be some confusion. The penthouse suite is reserved for our VIP guests only." "Yes, that's me," Jasmine replied calmly. Victoria's laugh was sharp and dismissive. "Miss, I think you're lost. Perhaps you're looking for the youth hostel down the street. It's much more budget-friendly." Nearby guests began to notice the exchange. A businessman in expensive suit paused his phone call, frowning at Victoria's tone. An elderly couple at the concierge desk turned to watch, their expressions uncomfortable. Jasmine tilted her head slightly. "Could you please check your reservation system?" Victoria's jaw tightened. "I don't need to check anything. I know exactly who belongs in our penthouse, and it's certainly not." She gestured dismissively at Jasmine's outfit. Someone who looks like they just walked off the street. The tension in the lobby thickened. A socialite with perfectly styled hair whispered loudly to her companion. Security should have stopped her at the door. Victoria seized on the comment, her voice rising. "Exactly, we have standards here. Perhaps you're looking for a delivery entrance. It's around the back of the building." Jasmine remained composed, her voice steady. "I'm not making a delivery. I'm a guest who's paid for the penthouse suite." "Listen," Victoria said, stepping closer and lowering her voice to a threatening whisper. "I'm trying to be polite here, but you're embarrassing yourself. Leave now before I make this worse for you." Have you ever been judged based on your appearance? Share your story in the comments and hit subscribe for more stories like this. Victoria's frustration reached a boiling point when Jasmine didn't move. She grabbed a house phone and spoke loudly enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Security to the front desk. We have someone who refuses to leave." The businessman finally spoke up. "Excuse me, but maybe you should just check her reservation." Victoria whirled around, her face flushed. "Sir, please don't encourage the situation. Some people need to learn their place." "Her place?" the businessman repeated, his voice sharp with disapproval. "She's asking to check into a room. What's wrong with that?" Victoria's anger now had a new target. "What's wrong is that she's clearly lying about having a reservation. Look at her." Jasmine met Victoria's glare without flinching. "You're making assumptions based on how I look." "I'm making observations based on reality," Victoria snapped back. "People who can afford our penthouse don't dress like they just rolled out of bed." The words hung in the air like a slap. The lobby fell uncomfortably quiet, with guests pretending not to stare while clearly listening to every word at that moment. 2 security guards arrived, their presence causing murmurs throughout the lobby. Victoria pointed dramatically at Jasmine. "This woman is trespassing and refuses to leave." One of the guards approached Jasmine politely. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us." Jasmine looked directly at Victoria, her voice calm but carrying a weight that made Victoria hesitate. "For the first time, you're making a mistake you'll regret for the rest of your career." Victoria scoffed, her confidence returning. "The only mistake here is yours for thinking you could fool us." "Actually," Jasmine said quietly, reaching into her backpack, "the mistake is all yours." She pulled out her phone and typed a quick message, her movements deliberate and controlled. Victoria watched nervously, something in Jasmine's unwavering calm beginning to unnerve her. "Empty threats don't work here," Victoria said, but her voice had lost some of its earlier certainty. From across the lobby, Marcus, the hotel's general manager, had been watching the exchange with growing alarm. As recognition dawned on his face, he went completely pale and began rushing toward the reception desk, his expression one of pure panic. Meanwhile, in the executive offices 50 floors above, phones began ringing urgently. Jasmine's message had reached the corporate headquarters, and within minutes, the entire hotel's management structure was in emergency mode. Victoria stood triumphantly as the security guards flanked Jasmine, unaware that her world was about to come crashing down. She had no idea that the trespasser she was having removed owned not just this hotel, but the entire international chain of 200 properties across 6 continents. The lobby fell into an uneasy silence, broken only by the soft classical music and the clicking of Marcus's shoes as he approached at near running speed, his face a mask of barely controlled terror. What would you do if you witnessed this kind of treatment? Let us know in the comments, and if you're hooked on this story, smash that like button and subscribe. Marcus reached the reception desk, his breathing heavy from his rushed approach. His eyes darted between Victoria and Jasmine, the color completely drained from his face. "Miss Chun," he said, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. "I had no idea you were here for an inspection today." Victoria's confident expression began to crack as she looked between Marcus and Jasmine, confusion evident on her face. "Marcus, what's going on? Why are you calling her Miss Chun?" Marcus looked at Victoria with a mixture of disbelief and horror. "Victoria, this is Jasmine Chun. She's the owner and CEO of Chun Hospitality Group." The words hit the marble lobby. Like a bomb exploding, gasps echoed from every corner. The socialite's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. The businessman slowly shook his head, as if he'd suspected something like this all along. Even the security guards stepped back, their faces pale with realization. Victoria staggered backward, gripping the reception desk for support. "That's impossible," she stammered. "She's just a kid in a hoodie. There has to be some mistake." Jasmine stepped forward, her voice calm but carrying unmistakable authority. "There's no mistake, Victoria. I'm Jasmine Chun, and I own this hotel. I also own the 199 other Grandview Palace properties worldwide." The revelation sent shockwaves through the lobby. Guests pulled out their phones, recording the unfolding scene. Hotel staff members who had gathered to watch began whispering frantically among themselves. "I came here today," Jasmine continued, her voice clear and steady, for an unannounced inspection to see how my staff treats guests when they think no one important is watching. What I discovered exceeded my worst nightmares. Victoria's hands trembled as the full weight of her actions crashed down on her. Miss Chun, I didn't know. If I had known who you were, I would never have. Jasmine held up a hand, silencing her. Stop right there. You just proved exactly what's wrong with your thinking. You would have treated me differently if you knew I was wealthy and powerful. But you felt comfortable humiliating someone you thought was beneath you. Marcus stepped forward, his professional composure completely shattered. Miss Chun, I take full responsibility for this incident. Victoria's behavior is inexcusable and completely against our company values. Marcus, Jasmine said calmly, you weren't here when this happened. Victoria made these choices herself, and now she needs to face the consequences. Jasmine turned to address the entire lobby, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast space. Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely apologize for what you've witnessed today. This behavior is not representative of the values that Chun Hospitality Group was built on. The lobby erupted in murmurs of support. The businessman called out, "You handled that with incredible grace, Miss Chun." Others nodded in agreement, some even applauding. Victoria's face crumpled as reality set in. Please, Miss Chun, I made a terrible mistake. I have a family. I need this job. I'll do anything to make this right. Jasmine looked directly at Victoria, her expression serious but not cruel. Victoria, what you did wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. You deliberately chose to humiliate someone based on their appearance, refused to do your basic job of checking reservations, and then tried to have an innocent person arrested. She paused, letting the words sink in. Your employment with Chun Hospitality Group is terminated immediately. Security will escort you out, and you'll receive information about your final paycheck in the mail. Victoria's legs nearly gave out. Please, I'm begging you. I'll change. I'll do better. Change and do better somewhere else, Jasmine said firmly. My guests deserve staff who treat everyone with respect, not people who show decency only when they think it benefits them. At that moment, Jasmine's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and looked back at Victoria. That was my legal team. They've reviewed the security footage of this incident. You'll be hearing from them about the discrimination lawsuit we're filing. Victoria's face went white as fresh security guards arrived to escort her out. As she was led away, her confident demeanor completely shattered, she looked back at Jasmine one last time. I'm sorry, she whispered. Jasmine's expression remained impassive. Save your apologies for the courtroom. Actions have consequences, and today you learned that the hard way. After Victoria was removed, Jasmine turned to Marcus. I want every employee retrained on our non-discrimination policies within 30 days. Anyone who can't commit to treating all guests with equal respect can find employment elsewhere. She then addressed the security guards who had initially been called to remove her. Gentlemen, thank you for remaining professional throughout this. However, in the future, I expect you to question orders that seem discriminatory rather than automatically removing people based on appearance. The guards nodded respectfully. Understood, Miss Chun. We'll do better. Jasmine turned to the businessman who had spoken up for her. Sir, thank you for your courage in speaking out. Your next stay at any Chun Hospitality property is complimentary. The man smiled warmly. It was the right thing to do. Thank you for setting such a powerful example. As the crowd began to disperse, Jasmine finally approached the reception desk to complete her check-in. The replacement desk clerk, who had witnessed everything, treated her with genuine respect and professionalism. Welcome to the Grandview Palace. Miss Chun, your penthouse suite is ready, and please let us know if there's anything at all we can do to make your stay exceptional. Jasmine smiled. Just treat every guest the way you're treating me right now. That's all I've ever wanted. Later that week, Jasmine appeared on a major news program, her story having gone viral across social media platforms. The interviewer leaned forward with genuine interest. "Miss Chen, your video has been viewed over 50 million times. People are calling it a masterclass in leadership and dignity. What message do you want people to take from this?" Jasmine's gaze was thoughtful and steady. "Respect isn't something you earn based on your appearance or bank account. It's something every human being deserves by default. True character is revealed by how you treat people when you think it doesn't matter." The interviewer nodded, visibly moved. "What would you say to young people who face similar discrimination but don't have your platform?" Jasmine's expression softened with understanding. "I'd say that your worth isn't determined by other people's ignorance. Document everything, stand firm in your dignity, and remember that today's victim can become tomorrow's changemaker." Sometimes, the most powerful response to discrimination is simply refusing to accept it as normal. And what changes are you implementing across your hotel chain? We're launching the Respect First initiative across all 200 properties. Every employee will undergo bias training. We're implementing mystery shopper programs to test for discrimination. And we're creating anonymous reporting systems for guests who experience prejudice. Most importantly, we're making it clear that jobs depend on treating all guests with equal dignity. 3 months later, Jasmine returned to the Grandview Palace for a follow-up visit. She was greeted by Marcus and an entirely retrained staff, their smiles genuine and their service consistently respectful to all guests. Regardless of appearance, the hotel had implemented new policies, updated training programs, and created a culture where respect was truly the foundation of every interaction. Guest satisfaction scores had reached all-time highs, and the property had become a model for the entire chain. As Jasmine stood in her penthouse suite that evening, looking out at the city lights 50 floors below, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Victoria's discrimination had been painful, but it had sparked a transformation that would protect countless future guests from similar treatment. Jasmine smiled, understanding that real leadership wasn't about demanding respect because of your title or wealth. It was about ensuring that respect became so deeply embedded in your organization's culture that everyone felt valued, regardless of who they were or how they looked. The incident had taught her something profound. Sometimes the most important victories aren't personal, they're the changes you create that make the world a little more just for everyone who comes after you. Do you think Victoria deserved another chance? Or were the consequences fair? Share your thoughts below, and if this story inspired you to stand up for what's right, hit that subscribe button and tell us about a time you witnessed someone being treated unfairly, or when you found the courage to speak up yourself.